Okay, now to do the next few colors, I'm just going to use a baby wipe. And I tried to give a little time for my first set of prints to dry because I want to just do the next stamp right over the top of that initial layer. So if it's the next day, that's probably best. If you have a couple of them that are dried and you want to start today, you might have time to do that. You just kind of wipe this off a little bit and then you're good to go. Now, here's where the reduction part comes in. I'm going to take my original drawing, I'm going to try to line it up the best I can over the top with my tape. And this isn't too hard to do because you can kind of see through the paper, and as long as you line up the edges, you're probably okay. Now I'm going to trace a few more details. So I'm just going to put a little bit of texture in my trees. So some of this stuff you can see I'm just adding the second day. I didn't have it drawn out on my original design. I might even do a little bit of snow up in here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cut all that out, so I'm not going to worry about that. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and draw the face on. Draw the nose. Draw the eyes. Now, anything that I press down and carve is going to stay baby blue. So like I might want the inside of the eyes to stay light blue, but I'm not going to worry about anything that I want to be gray or black. I'm going to leave that as just an outline for now. And then I'm going to take this off. And you kind of have to keep track of what you added, because then whenever you go back and look at it, you might want to make sure it's indented really well again. So I'm just pressing that in with my pencil. Again, I trace the eyes. And just pressing all that in again. I pretty much transferred it. I just want to make sure it's a nice deep indentation. Okay, now I'm going to cut out the top part of this like this. Since this is a relief print, my stamp is going to get smaller and smaller as I add additional colors, because I don't need the next color on every single part of my print. So I'm just going to cut this away. This is where it might get a little tricky if you have animals, like small animals that are sort of, you know, floating or flying and they're not connected by a tree branch or something like that. You may want to add those kinds of things in your background, so that way whenever you go to cut away part of your layer, it will look right. Okay, just finishing up these trees. Okay, so I'm going to ink it up just like I did before, making sure to roll the brayer on there and get a nice even thin layer of ink. We're using tempera paint, so it dries fairly quickly. If we were using real printmaking ink, it takes a lot longer to dry and it's a little more sticky. Oh no, I just shaved off a tree. Oh well, I guess I'll have a light blue tree. That'll just have to be farther away in the background. I'm okay with it. Or I could try to tape it back on, but I'm fine. It'll be fine. So I'm going to ink this puppy up. I'm using kind of like a silver. So I'm going to go back and forth one way, back and forth the other way, and then I'm going to build up the color on my stamp doing the same thing. Back and forth, up and down, back and forth, up and down. Okay? And if you need more ink, just get a little more on your brayer. Okay, so move my cover sheet out of the way. Grab my old print. And I'm going to flip my stamp carefully because I don't want to mess it up. This time I'm going to just lay the stamp on top rather than try to lay the paper down like we did the first time around. And you just want to be careful not to get fingerprints all over the background and stuff like that. I'm just going to rub the back of this. And you'll continue to do that on all the steps. So now I have this nice little light gray layer and some fingerprints, but that's okay.